Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Creators Creating. I am Corey Threewing, and I am here with my co-host, Aubrey Cardone. Aubrey, say hi.
Hello, I'm Aubrey.
We are talking about time today. What is time in our world, but specifically timeline? I want to talk about the power of timelines as we understand, our past and our future. And somewhere in the middle on that line is the present moment of where we are right now. And getting started, once again, before we head in, I want to do the four agreements like we always do, our self-governance, the way we are with each other. And I will read them twice, like I always do. And here they are. Personal material shared in our circle is for this circle. Personal material shared in this circle is for this circle. We listen to each other with curiosity and compassion, withholding judgment. We listen to each other with curiosity and compassion, withholding judgment. We ask for what we need and we offer what we can. We ask for what we need and we offer what we can. And from time to time, we will pause to regather our thoughts and focus. From time to time, we will pause to regather our thoughts and focus. And with that, our circle is open. And I want to pass the feather immediately to Aubrey. We've collected two poems for our little art and beauty, once again, just helping spread the bridge from where we were to what we're doing now. Are you ready, Aubrey?
I am.
Feather to you.
All right, so this first poem is called Days by Philip Larkin. What are days for? Days are where we live. They come, they wake us, time and time over. They are to be happy in. Where can we live but days? Ah, solving that question brings the priest and the doctor in their long coats running over the fields.
Nice. Thank you, Aubrey. Thank you, Aubrey. And I have another poem that I want to share. And I couldn't find the author's name, so I'm just going to give a shout out to the author of this poem. We don't know. This poem is called Go Back in Time. If I were to revisit the past, it becomes an article of a famous figure. That person, somehow you would meet them, but I guess I have doubts. What if, and could be amazing, iconic figures? What if you managed to create new ones? Where we could be, can be, anything. And how I'd return back to his club too, and tell him how he should have used the political backfire of return to caves where the flames danced and told us of the future. Instead, we wish to travel backwards, and how that of a caveman, its invention, if I were to revisit the past, it becomes the future. Go back in time. So there's our two poems. And here we are today. Welcome, 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 everybody. Time. I'm feeling called just to have Aubrey step in first and talk about what we're talking about today. Aubrey, get in here.
All right, I love talking about time. In fact, we're actually going to kind of only tap the surface of this subject today because both Corey and I have hours and hours of classes on this topic. And so we will be offering a workshop soon on this very subject. So we're going to dive a lot deeper because it's actually just not possible to fit it into this amount of time that we have here.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to go just a little bit into the initial mechanics of time. Oh, can everybody see this?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to start with the fact that time is not linear. And we've talked about this a little bit before, but when we think of time, we experience it as this past, present, and future kind of experience where where the past it's like where we assume that there's kind of a cause and effect sort of like linear way that works, that it works. However, that is not how it works. The only real time that actually exists is now. When you look at your watch, what time is it at any given moment? It's now. So our past and our present and our future are kind of a conglomeration of context and desires for what we want to be given, what we want to be experiencing in any given moment. What time actually is just a container for experience. And we see that in the way that we talk about it. Remember that time when you did this, have a good time. Hey, time out, and it's bedtime. And even when we say something like it's 5 o'clock somewhere, what we're talking about is the idea of an experience of popping open a beer after work or whatever it is. We're not talking about the time on the clock. We're talking about the experience. So when we look at the measured clock, like clocks and dates and the way that we experience time, they're actually just a unit of measurement of gravity. And this is kind of what we will be going deeper into in our workshop. But in the meantime, we can talk a little bit about how experiences can create gravitational pulls just as much as the Earth can. And when we experience these containers of experience, we get influenced by past experiences, so versions of us that maybe experienced trauma, or maybe experienced the best birthday party ever when we were 6 years old, and that container of experience then will kind of create a gravitational effect on our current now, and which versions of ourselves that we most connect to, both past and future, deeply influence the way that we now experience that we experience our now. And if we start focusing on different versions of ourselves in the past and the future, that will quickly shift our now versions into something we would rather be experiencing if you're experiencing something that you're not enjoying right in this moment.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then that's kind of where we start getting into quantum mechanics. So I think that is that for that. Are there any questions about that so far?
Understandings, ahas. You're with us about time. Excellent.
I think that's over to you then, Corey.
All right. And so I want to talk a little bit about timeline. And I know we've played with this a little bit in the past about, understanding your timeline, your personal line itself. So what I'd like to do today is elicit your own understanding of your own timeline. Like how do you understand that in your space? And this is a cognitive, imaginative process. So basically what I would like to do is invite you to install a playground of time inside your imagination about your relationship and understanding of your personal timeline. Some people experience their timelines. If you can imagine, sometimes you might see it. If it's in front of me, my past could be to the left and my future could be to the right, because in this part of the world, we read from left to right. So maybe my past might be over here and my future might be over here and my present moment is right here. And what that does is we install the idea of a line drawn. And if that's my past going clear out to the infinity of past, and here's my future going clear out into the infinity of my future. But I can imagine me at the present moment. So when I first started doing this, I always imagined it in front of me. Like I could see it, there it was, a line drawn, and then there's me in the present moment. There's the moment I was born. There's the moment I was conceived. And right before that, there's 3 roads: my mother's family line, my father's family line, and my line. So there's that moment on my timeline, this life, where those energies, those ancestral connections come together. And then I look out to the future and I can say, oh, there's tomorrow. There's next week. There's next year. There's me 10 years from now. There's me in my next lifetime and 20 lifetimes out. So I'm installing an imaginative, creative picture in your mind. This is what I'm hoping we're doing right now, is establishing a way to imagine your timeline and you seeing it in your mind, experiencing it in your mind, in your imagination. Can you all do that? Is that something that can happen? You're doing it now, perhaps, right? So then there's where you are in relation to your timeline. Like, for example, when I first started doing this, I was always looking at it. But now I'm going to practice moving around, shifting it around, like rising above it, looking to the future, looking to the past, flying clear up above it, high, high, high above it, floating down inside of it, traveling back and forth to different places within it. Do you guys understand a little bit of the playground that we're playing with? Yeah. All right. And so what I'd like to do is ask permission to actually install your timeline. Let's play with it a little bit. Does that feel okay? Is that all right with everybody? Yeah. What I would like to do is ask permission for our unconscious minds to communicate with us today consciously. And a lot of our timeline, the information about our timeline, is not so much in our cognitive mind. It comes from within. Within. I love the phrase, blink it, don't think it. Because sometimes we want to think about it, think about it, think about it, think about it. Nope. What we're going to do here today is when I ask you for something, trust the first thing that pops in your mind. Trust that very first thought, how far, how wild it might be. To blink it, not think it. Right? Does that make sense? Yeah. And so what we're doing here is we're inviting, we talked about this a little bit last week and a couple of weeks ago, inviting our unconscious mind to communicate with us consciously in this wonderful, beautiful opportunity we have about being in the present moment. And that's what we're doing, is we're stepping into the present moment so that we have that greater perspective of all things, the field of knowledge, the Akashic records, our own experience, our highest self looking down at our human self now, to jump back around and to gain information, to collect wisdom, and then also to do healing, reframing, and a new understanding. And that we can bring those energies forward. We can bring those energies forward. Is that okay with everybody? Yeah. So we're gonna have some fun today. Once again, when we talked a couple of weeks ago about the roles and the job of your unconscious mind, of course, keeps us safe. And once again, your unconscious mind will never give you anything that you're not ready to work on. So thank you for that good safety. But today we were talking about, Aubrey, earlier on, we're like, energy, where do we refill the well? Where do we fill our energy? I know some of you have been doing some deep work this week. How do we fill the well when we need to fill the well? So we're going to do a little bit of that today too. We're going to access a place in time to gather some insight and gather some wisdom and gather some energy to pull it into now. Because we can also use this work when we're loaded and resourced to do the deeper work. Yeah. Gina's back. Thanks, Gina. All right. So with that, everybody, let's elicit some timelines. All right. So I'm gonna read a script that was written, and I love the power of words. So a lot of these words are well placed and well thought, because we're actually talking to the unconscious mind. And we talked a couple of weeks ago, the unconscious mind does not process a not or a negative. And so some of these words, as you'll know, now I'm talking to your coach, your conscious mind, as you hear these words, you'll hear the invitation for your unconscious mind to be curious. And so you might feel a little bit of a, what? A little, right? Good. That means your conscious mind is allowing your unconscious mind to speak more powerfully. So if you get a little bit of a tilt, like, or a little, wait, what? Welcome it. That's the blink it, don't think it piece. So if you get a little confusion or a little, wait, what? Be open to what's coming. Right. So some of this language is designed for us to loosen the grip of who we used to be so that we can allow some of this understanding in the conscious minds and then the unconscious mind, and then they start to work together. So there's just a little bit of pre-frame about what we can do today. So as we move forward, what I'd like you to do is just to get comfortable for a minute. I'm going to guide you sort of like on a guided meditation, and I'm going to invite you to imagine that you can imagine. I'm going to invite you to know that you can know. And if nothing comes up, I'm going to invite you to say, okay, if you were to know, then you can know. And then once again, trust what comes. First thought that pops in your mind. Trust that and follow it. Okay. So if I were to ask your unconscious mind, once again, I'm going to ask you right now to actually use your hand and show me with your hand. If I were to ask your unconscious mind, where in relation to you, where's your past and where's your future? And I have an idea that you might say from right to left or front to back or up or down or in some direction in relation to your body. And it's not your conscious concept that I'm interested in, it's your unconscious. So if I were to ask your unconscious mind, where's your past? What direction will you point? Everybody point. Find a place. All right. Where in relation to your body is it? So, all right. Everybody just kind of take a moniker of that. Gina, I want to ask, because you're pointing at yourself, right? Where's your past? Can you speak to that?
You're on mute.
Yeah. Mhm.
There, sorry. It's in my
Okay.
heart.
Can you say it again?
It's in my heart.
In your heart. Okay. So I'm going to ask your imagination then. If it's in your heart, can you imagine right now rising above that moment and stepping to one side or the other? So now that's not in you, it's outside of you. Can you do that?
Sure.
Awesome. And now can you point at it? Where in relation to you is that moment, that mark of where is your past?
Behind me.
Behind you. Thank you. Great. Everybody else has a place of the past. And your future. Let's do the exact same thing. Let's find another point somewhere around you. And if I were to ask in what direction your future is, can you point at where that is? Unconscious mind, point to where that point is in your future. Yeah. Very good. Excellent. Does everybody have their points? Your past point and your future point? Yeah. Now I want you to imagine that there's a line drawn between them. Let's establish the idea of a line drawn between them. And I want you to rise up a little higher and a little bit further away so that you can actually see that line. And on that line, I'd like you to put a moment of the present moment, the now, because we will come back to the now. We will travel from the now and come back to the now. So as you can, away from the line, up and above, looking down at your line below, can you see the mark of the present moment and a line going to the past and a line going to the future? Can you all do that? Let me know. Okay, excellent. And now let's just play a little bit. I'm going to ask you to turn on the line and face the past and rise up even higher so you can see even further into the past. I want you to remember something 1 week ago, and there's a line or a marker or a tag of your making. And then 1 month ago. and then 1 year ago, then 10 years ago, and then when you were teenagers, perhaps your first kiss, perhaps when you were 5, the moment you were born, the moment you were conceived, and then the 3 roads, your mother's line, your father's line, and your line beyond, clear out into the infinity of the past. And now what I want you to do is to turn around and face the future and travel backwards over the past. So the present moment is getting further away, traveling backwards over the past, facing the future. There's the moment 5 years ago. There's the moment you were born, traveling higher and further back, facing the future. There's the 3 forks in the road of your conception, traveling higher and even further back, seeing clear up until the present moment and beyond into the future. Can you all do that? Let me know. Give me a wave or a nod. Yeah. Now I want you to float in your own time and space, back up towards the future and above the now. And I want you to turn around and face the past and travel backwards into the future. Higher, looking to the past, over the future, and down below, there's next week, and next year, and 10 years from now, and clear into the future. Your next lifetime, 10 lifetimes, so high up and above, looking clear into your past. Can you all do that? You're all there. Excellent. Now in your own time, easily and effortlessly, I want you to float back over, noticing all of these times and special events along the timeline. I want you to come back straight up above the present moment. Take a gander to the future. Turn around and take a gander to the past. And then float back down easily and effortlessly into the present moment and come back in the room with me now. And open your eyes. Now let's check in with one another. Welcome to your timelines, everybody. How are you feeling? What did you learn? What did you see? What's happening? Let's pass the feather real quick. Just a couple of words from each. How are you? Jen, how you doing?
Just going through some deep healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of stuff is coming up.
Yeah. I want to remind everybody from the unconscious mind that in this work, we're not reliving those events. We are just witnessing those events. Right? So if you're being triggered by a lot of emotions, I want to remind you that in this work today and in timeline work, we're not reliving the event, we're witnessing the event from this high, safe, and protected place so that we can harvest the understandings, we can and harvest the learnings. So once again, you're safe, you are protected, you are surrounded by your highest self and all of the greater good. There we go. Thanks, Jen. Chris, how you doing?
A literal line that looked like a laser beam, kind of like the old movie Tron, with points of light. Each point of light was like an LED strip, a light on the LED strip that signified an event.
Excellent.
Going back to conception, before that, it was a little blurry, but there were things there, and same with the future, it was blurry.
Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Chris. Well done. Gina, how you doing?
Great. That was fun. It was definitely more difficult the last one was looking at the past and moving into the future.
Yep.
think that's it.
There's the stretch right there. Good, good.
That-
That's the
That was a
stretch.
stretch. That was interesting. It was
Yeah.
a new perspective of being up there looking down or looking at.
And how did your line appear to you?
Not really a line, just events.
Okay. Yeah. And was it visual for you or was it knowing for you?
More knowing,
Mhm.
a little visual.
Right. Because there's no right or wrong way, as long as we know what we're doing. You know,
I just had some difficulty with the 3 things because I was adopted, and Aubrey says I probably didn't have parents.
right.
I don't think I did, but I have had past lives, so I was good there.
Perfect. Perfect. Excellent.
Genetically, you have parents, Gina.
Well, I know, but I'm not connected.
Right. Yeah. Susie, how you doing?
For me, I was visualizing a white line, but sort of like in a semicircle.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like on a swing. So when you were describing it, I was having fun. I was just like swinging from one side to the other, but I had trouble staying in one side. I just wanted to be everywhere. And when I was you know, I was sort of like scrolling,
Mm-hmm.
the past and just scrolling like almost like digitally, trying. Wasn't seeing anything, but I was just felt like I was scrolling and move and swinging and moving around, and I just wanted to be everywhere all at once at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Good. Good, good, good. Yeah. This is fun. This is fun. And this is a really powerful tool. And we're going to go deeper with this in workshops to come for sure. Steph, how'd you do? How are you?
Good. I saw my timeline as kind of as how I would draw it on a piece of paper, um, with just points through that. And then with mom and dad sort of branching off. And I saw it from above. It looked the same thing. And Gina, you kind of sparked what I experienced. I had a difficult time turning myself around from the past and then traveling to the future.
Yeah.
It was kind of just spinning around.
Mm-hmm. This takes some practice. Yeah, and that's why I wanted to play today. We're playing, we're imagining the sandbox and all the toys and turning the hose on today. Yeah. Aubrey, how'd you do?
I loved that exercise, Corey. That was really cool. Thank you for sharing it with us. When we were traveling back on the past, I suddenly noticed that when I remember myself at 5 years old and younger, there's a specific frequency of myself that I can like kind of tune into. And so I just navigated the timeline through the frequency of different versions of myself. And so that was really cool because that's sort of how I interact with the world. And I had never thought to do it this way with my future versions. And so when I saw my future frequency, I can see it. I can see that frequency, and I have not actually been able to interact with it this tangibly before. So as it kind of came, it's making my ear tick. Like it's really, it's really big, and so I have to kind of like It was interesting when you first started this exercise, Corey. I felt this pit in my stomach, like I'm nervous. I'm nervous about that version of myself, and I didn't really understand that I had those fears. About being that version of me. And now that like it's right here, it's now sitting right next to me.
Right.
Like,
Good. Yeah,
yeah, that's
awesome. So
thank you.
there's a lot of different ways your timeline can appear to you, and it might change as your understanding or your creativity or your trust in your imagination changes. I was working with a buddy of mine last week doing this work. His name is Nico, and when we were talking about how he experiences his timeline, he said, "You know, Corey, I am such a nerd for education and knowledge and study." He's like 4 PhDs. He's one of these people that just one of those people, and he did that when he was young, You know, and he said, my timeline is like one of those antique, old-fashioned libraries with the rolling ladder. And so I'd fly off riding the ladder to the future and ride my ladder to the past. And as the stories would be books, those marks in his mind were books. And then as we did change work in the timeline, the books would change color. And they would light up and shift and change as he shifted and changes his understanding of his story. So I just wanted to implement have some fun with however it makes sense to you, you know, as we imagine this. And this is work that I encourage you to, in your own meditations, you know, practice moving around in your timeline, traveling in your timeline, turning and facing the future, the past, practice pushing it way, like, for example, everybody right now, just close your eyes really fast and imagine your timeline being below you and rise up even higher so your timeline becomes very small. You're so far away. That gigantic timeline, smaller, 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 to the size of an inchworm. And you're so high up, your timeline is so far away. And then in your own time, slowly flow back down. The timeline gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and flow back down into the now. Once again, these are some gymnastics, some mental gymnastics to play on the monkey bars of your timeline. So now what I want to do in our last few minutes together is I want you to all to think of a hero, a mentor, somebody you love. It could be somebody you know or don't know. I was doing this exercise a couple of days ago, and a friend of mine chose Steve Jobs and went and had a visit with Steve Jobs. I had another friend of mine that did this with Louise Hay and went and found Louise Hay. You know, so somebody that you admire, somebody who fills your well, somebody that you would love to learn from, but somebody who's already passed away for this experiment today. Can you all think of somebody in your world that you would love to know, connect with, share information with, ask questions to, perhaps have a relationship with? What? Can you all think of somebody? I want to make sure we all have a target here. Does everybody have somebody in mind? Why don't we tell each other who it is? Everybody just open your mics and just who? Let's have a target. If you were to go to
great-great-grandfather Lars Pedersen.
all right, great-great-grandpa Lars. Thanks, Chris. Who else? Yeah. Who else has a mentor hero? You could know them or not.
I'm drawing a blank on her name.
Okay.
She's
hold
the one
on.
that the Nostradamus channels.
It'll come to you.
She does the past life or regressions and into the ETs. And
Right.
Doris Cannon.
thank you.
Oh,
That's who I was
Cannon.
thinking
I'm
of.
getting Diane Cannon, and I'm like, that's not right. Dolores Cannon, thank you.
Doris, good choice. Yeah, excellent. Excellent. All right, what about you guys? Susie, do you have
Sorry, mine was the same Dolores Cannon.
really? Oh, cool, cool, cool. Susie, who do you got?
Sorry, I couldn't think of anyone that's passed, but what kept coming into mind is my green turtle that wanted to get my attention the other day. Sorry, that's what I've got.
Okay. All right. If that's what's coming up for you, awesome. The green turtle. All right. Jen, do you have somebody?
For me, like I love the Dolores Cannon one so much. But for me, the name that just kept coming to me was actually Tesla was the name that kept coming up at first. So I'll go with that one.
Awesome. Tesla. Aubrey, who do you got?
I think the Christ consciousness is my.
Ooh.
Okay. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, everybody. So I'm going to invite you to just imagine that you can imagine. Would you imagine that you can imagine that there is a place in time that you can travel to in the past where they are? where they were, right? And we're going to harvest this information from the past and we're going to bring it to the future. We're going to bring it to the present moment and send it into the future. So let's imagine that you already know. If you were to know in your mind, your unconscious mind already knows this point in time, I want you to find that moment on your time zone, on your timeline, and make it appear right now. Pop. Is it there for you? Doesn't matter where it is, but it's a known spot. Do you all have that spot? Wherever it is, there's a target. There's a place to land somewhere on your timeline. Let me know that you all have that. All right. Thanks, Chris. Somewhere. Okay. Give me a little hands up, everybody. Do you have that target? Let me know. Good. All right, so now I want you to close your eyes and rise above your timeline. And remember who we're going to see. And now travel back, staying above your timeline. And I want you to go and stay above your timeline, but be right above that moment where this person is hanging out. And from this high place, looking down at this place on your timeline, I want you to look down from here and notice what you notice from here before you arrive. Notice what you notice. Where are you landing? What do you see? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you feel? What do you taste? What do you know? What are you learning? What else are you learning? And then slowly fall down, down, down into that moment. Arrive in that moment. And the person that you've come to see is there for you somewhere. Look around. Be yourself. Be free to be who you are. You know why you have come. And they are expecting you. And give me a little hands up when you have found them. So we all know you found them. They're there in front of you. Great. What do you know? Be yourself. Do what you would do. Introduce. Now notice this person from the bottom up, their shoes. What are they wearing? Their posture. Their environment. What do they have close to them? Their expression. The look in their eye. Now feel them welcome you. Now I want you to start to harvest your learnings. What are you learning? What does your unconscious mind need to know from this person right now for the greatest good, for the work you're doing, for the growth you're ready for? Fill your bucket. Your unconscious mind will remember all of the details, so you don't have to remember them now. Your inner scribe is busily harvesting all of this information. What else are you learning? Yeah, good. Good. Fill your well. Wisdom. Connection. New relationship. Communication open. Connection installed. There you go. Good. Very good. Ask them for what you need. Yeah, good. Harvest this information. Anchor this new connection. Ask if it's okay to return. And if it feels right, give them permission to knock on your door. Excellent. Very good. Now let's circle this experience with all of this wisdom and these new connections made. Harvest the learnings and start to rise above this moment. Say thank you. And from this high place, look down one more time and harvest even more learnings. And as you gaze back to the future, look at all of the events of the past one by one on the way back to the now and install the learnings. Every step of the way, stop and install the learnings at every age, at every place, at every time, at every life event. All the way back to above the right now. And as you gaze into the future, send the learnings forward so that they are there for you. Send the learnings forward so that they are there for you. And in your own time, slowly and easily come back down into the present moment, learnings installed, learnings collected, and come back in the room with me. Yeah, good work. Good, good, good. Welcome back, everybody. What I'd like to do now is let's pass the feather around and talk about a couple of your learnings, power words. What happened? Yeah. How you doing, everybody? Aubrey, how'd you do?
Really good. We touched foreheads and there was a bunch of third eye stuff that happened and my forehead feels sore now.
Good, good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I noticed there was so much information, kind of my molecules feel like they're buzzing. So I want to kind of try to find some stillness because it feels like a lot of information. So thank you. That was amazing.
Awesome. Good. Susie, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm really warm. I just felt that I did get a turtle download. I think I have some work to do with my green turtle friend and with all of the colors that I'm going to be working with. And I think he was sharing that information with me. So I'm very grateful to you, Mr. Turtle Friend, and I appreciate you and I love you.
Right back at you. Awesome, Susie. Thanks. Gina.
What was interesting when I was up above, I saw Dolores on stage with her daughter. She was sitting in her usual high top chair, just being Dolores, talking to the audience, and her daughter was kind of sitting at her feet. And as I was coming down, she looked up and went, "Hi," because we're old friends.
Awesome. Excellent.
And I found myself kind of just there on the stage, listening
Mhm.
and being there. So it was interesting.
Excellent. Excellent. Steph, How'd you do?
First of all, Dolores Cannon's Velcro shoes are amazing. That's what I saw first, was she was wearing Velcro shoes. The message that she had for me was to just be, she said, just be yourself. That's all you have to do. Just be yourself. And so that's what I was installing. It's just at every stage, just be yourself. Be yourself.
Good, good, good. Awesome, Steph. Thanks. Jen, how'd you do?
So I ended up in it was kind of like a small library, is the best it's like a study is the best way I could put it. And there was a table with like inventions on it. And my kind of my curiosity with Tesla is the connection with the metaphysical, and the fact that they often said, you know, that he built all of these things in the metaphysical before he built them in the physical. So he actually didn't build a lot in the physical. And when he did, it worked because it had been done so many times already. And so he was kind of just letting me know that to remember that the information is always there to be accessed. It's the field, and we can always tap in, and that information is always there for any of us. And I often see things like as videos. And so he kind of helped guide me to take that video that I would see in my head of the, say, invention, and it kind of blew up into just a blueprint at first, and then it became like multi-dimensional, and I could see all the pieces working. And he's like, you're already doing it, you just have to like flip how you're seeing it. And so he helped me just to kind of flip that video into that blueprint, and then into a multi-dimensional working. And so that was pretty neat. He's like, you can do this all the time. We all can, so just remember that. And so I went back to all the versions of myself to let myself know that this is always accessible and that it's right there. And yeah.
Excellent. Oh, Jen, excellent. So cool.
That was fun.
Chris, how'd you do, buddy?
That was fantastic. I found myself in a humble home in Denmark, talking to my grandfather who had just finished praying on the side of his bed. And I found out he's a lot like me. He's got a lot of self-doubt and a desire for change and a love for family. But he pushed all that aside and moved forward and initiated change in his life, changed his timeline, and went on a big fucking awesome adventure. And I just felt a connection to him that I had never felt before. It was really cool.
Sweet. Okay, now everybody, I want you to just take a moment and let's look at each other's faces, because we're different now. Just look at how we've changed. We can see it. We can literally say it was really fun for me to watch you do this, because I could see softening, posture change, release of tension, smiles, tears. So I just wanted us all to witness each other. Let's take a mental picture of this moment right here. What do we look like right now in this way? What do we look like now in this way? I just grabbed a snapshot. I'll post it in our Telegram shot picture for us, because we are now changed. And we are now connected. And I hope you all have a new tool, an understanding of a tool you get to use in a really beautiful way. And we'll come back to this tool we're gonna work with this tool quite a bit, because this tool has potential to do a lot of things. Jen and Steph and I worked with this tool last week, and you felt some of their energy when we came in today. Yeah. Let's begin to close our circle. I know we're a few minutes over. I want to honor our time. Yeah. Aubrey, last thoughts from you. How do we do today?
That was just fantastic. I am so grateful that all of you are here now with this new information. And I would encourage you to, I mean, Corey's been talking a lot lately about how he talks to his future self and pulls up a chair. And you all, this exercise we just did with these teachers, you can continue to do that using yourself as your teacher, and any other teachers that you want to know. But I think this is a really great exercise, and I'm so glad that you're all here today with us. Thank you.
Be aware of your emotions and be aware of your decisions. And in this work, as you start to play on these new monkey bars, your old emotions and your old fears and your old experiences are present. And remember that we're not reliving them here. That's what talk therapy is about. This is not talk therapy. This is witnessing the event from above, harvesting your learnings. And then we can do some deeper work with this, where we can work with some of those hard emotions or traumatic events or decisions made at the ancestral level that created a lot of suffering or woundedness. We can do that but beware that at this early stage of knowing this tool is that you're witnessing it, not experiencing it. Your unconscious mind will not give you anything that you're not ready to deal with. So I want you to operate safely. And if you're playing with this and you do get triggered, I want you to reach out to me. Ask for some help, ask for what you need, and offer what you can. Yeah. So I want to honor your bravery, and I want to honor your willingness to look at yourself in this way. Everybody. Yeah. Last thoughts before we say farewell for today. Questions, comments, ahas.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Thanks, buddy. Anybody else? You okay? Do you have what you need?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right, everybody. With that, I'm going to wrap up the recording. But let's stay on for a minute. Thanks, everybody out there in the world. I'm Corey with Aubrey. This is Creators Creating, and we will see you next time.